Hello and welcome to episode 111 of the Alfa Romeo Driver Podcast, brought to you by the Alfa Romeo Owners Club. I'm Guy Swarbrick, and this month we have our annual preview of National Alfa Day, the biggest and best Alfa Romeo event of the year. With me to discuss all the treats we have in store, I have club manager Nick Wright and management team member David Faithful. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Guy.
Good afternoon, Guy.
So it's that time of year already. We're just at the end of a period of thunderstorms after 3 or 4 heat waves. So it must be almost time for National Alfa Day.
Yes, the grass might be green this year. You never know, do you?
Well, it's got a long way to go, hasn't it? From pale white and almost invisible last weekend through to yellow, through to green by the time we get there, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
So, and we are at our usual location. I've been looking back through archives when I've been doing the archive column for the magazine at some of the places we've stopped and stayed. Obviously, we're at Stamford Hall for a long time and then quite a few years at Boughton House. But back with our friends at Bicester Motion as it is now.
Yeah, it's really hard to get a location that satisfies everyone's needs. So geographically, that's impossible. But in location terms, finding a site that's big enough now, we can have towards 1,500 cars and at least 2,500 visitors. So it needs to be big and it needs to be safe. It needs to have sufficient space for all of the cars, but mainly we now use the track. And so members like the mix of static displays and on-track action. And so, it's really hard to find somewhere that satisfies all of those needs. So I think if and when we move away from Bicester, it may not be all of those things. It may be a different shape of National Alfa Day. And I know that over the last year or two, we've looked at different locations, such as, some of the big racing tracks and so on. But again, it's very hard to get that right mix. So Bicester, it's not a great geographic location for some of our members, but, we know that hundreds of people will travel there and stay overnight and so on. And it does satisfy a lot of other needs.
And you say it's not geographically ideal, but I suspect it's as least bad. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. It's as good a compromise geographically in terms of the sheer number of members as anywhere. It's kind of, there's a lot of people that it's a long way for, but there can't be many places that are more convenient for more members, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, Guy. Most of the membership is in that line drawn between, I think, Bristol and up to the Wash around there. I mean, being a national club, we're always going to be a long way from home for a lot of people. But I would just say the management team made no decision to keep it at Bicester permanently. That's not a decision. We are, as David says, we're actively looking for another place, but we've just made it so big and popular. It's quite difficult to find somewhere else now, but we're still looking.
And that's really why, with our other regional events, we try and spread those out. We worked really hard this year where Southwest Alfa Day was very much in the Southwest and Spring Alfa Day was very much in the Northwest. We had Northern Alfa Day just a week or two ago around Yorkshire. We have Scottish Italian Car Day, of course, in Scotland. So we're really trying to make an effort so that members can get to at least one event, and our national event just has become very large. And so, it kind of, with those regional events, you can almost pick from 25 different locations. With National Alfa Day, there's maybe 3 locations in the UK that would house us. So it's just logistically more tricky.
And I have had people complain to me that Scottish Italian Car Day is a long way from Inverness and Aberdeen. So you can't really win, can you?
It is.
You can't win there. It's a long way from Suffolk. I can tell you that.
Yeah, but everywhere's a long way from Suffolk. I mean, both in miles and hours, given that there are no actual roads.
Belgium's quite close.
So the other thing we should probably talk about, I know there were a few people that, having seen the news about the incident at Bicester, weren't sure whether we'd be able to go there. So it's probably worth talking a little bit about any restrictions there are. And I know we're going to do something in the memory of the firefighters who were tragically killed in that incident.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, for those that don't know, there was a massive fire there in May this year. As you say, there's one member of the public and 2 firefighters sadly lost their lives. That did have a massive impact on everyone on the site there, including the businesses or the staff at Bicester Motion. So we did decide immediately that we'd support the firefighters charity this year, and we'd have a big collection there. We're setting up, just in the throes of setting up the Just Giving page at the moment. I spoke to the charity there, sending us some buckets for collect some stuff called cash, apparently. Some people have that. So we're doing that this year, and I hope, if people are able to support Obviously, not everyone can, but for those that are able to support, we hope that they'll be able to do that, give something back to them. As far as restrictions go, that hangar and surrounding area is still cordoned off, and there will be when our event is there. It wasn't an area we used particularly. It was just mainly a truck park and trailer park, which there are alternatives to use for that, so that's not a problem. Generally, it'll be as we were before, yeah.
And in terms of, I guess if we kind of go around the site bit by bit, there's a few interesting new things being done in terms of the track parades, David.
Yeah, it's again always a challenge really to get the right mix on the track, because there are so many different types of cars, and we're seeing quite a big delta between, volumes of, for example, modern Julias who arrive versus volumes of, some of the older, more classic cars. So we've tried to do a mixture of things. People will see familiarity. So if you've got a Giulietta or Mito or Tonale or an Alfa Sud, you'll see that you have a time slot. We've got our vintage and pre-war slot as well. I know Carol was trying to mobilise some of the owners who came last year. Whether we'll get as many, I'm not sure, because it was kind of our anniversary, and there was a lot of. I think people underestimate the amount of effort some of those owners went to get their cars to an event where everybody could see them. So we hope to get some vintage and pre-war cars there, and of course we've got some celebratory laps as well for the anniversaries, the 159 anniversary, the 75 anniversary. We're putting out the 147 and 156 GTAs in their slot as well, plus all the usual mix. So if you've got an Alfa Sud or Sprint or a 33, you've got your slot. If you've got a Giulietta, Mito, you've got your slot. We've got the quadrifolios in a separate slot again. And we've got perhaps, people might challenge this, but we've put the Giulia and Stelvio quadrifolios on track with any junior Veloces. So it'll be an interesting mix of modern machines, as well as the new, very fast and high-performing junior Veloce. So, yeah, there's going to be a mixture. People will see things that, and we've reordered some of them, but people will see immediately the track slot they belong in, and people will like that familiarity. But there's 2 or 3 other slots in there that we're trying new experiments with. We're also aiming to, and I don't think this is fully confirmed, but Alfa Romeo UK are bringing along some cars to do some fast laps. So in between our published track slots, we're leaving 15-minute slots in there for Alfa Romeo for potential or prospective buyers or people interested in the new cars that Alfa are bringing along. They're going to give the opportunity to go out and do some fast laps with a professional driver, where you can experience what a real track lap is like. Because we don't actually limit the cars to 50 miles an hour. We talk about parade laps, but our lead drivers are experienced racing drivers. So depending on the audience and how many cars and so on, they can go pretty quickly. And then we have exceptions for the racing cars. They have a bit more freedom. And those fast laps with Alfa Romeo, because they're a trained and experienced professional driver, they'll be able to unleash those Alfa Romeos in those little slots that they get. So the aim is, when people arrive, they can book a fast lap slot with Alfa Romeo directly. So they'll be limited in number, and the idea is that they are prospective buyers of new cars. But that'll be an interesting sight to see between our standard track formations as well, to see some properly fast laps with pro drivers.
And I know those slots fill up pretty quickly. Are there any slots available, or have people missed their chance to book?
There are still slots available for some models, things like the 159, 75, for example. There's only a couple left on those. Yeah, I think they're all in single figures, but if people are quick, they still get in there, get booked up. So the junior going around will give the noise meter a little rest as well, won't it? So.
Although there'll be quite a lot of tail squeal coming from it.
Yeah, I thought that, yes, before I said it.
Yeah. Just a really, really important point. We're putting information in the newsletter that's going out, or will have gone out, in fact, by the time you hear this. And everybody who's booked a track slot will receive an email a week or 2 before National Alfa Day. And they must, just like last year, complete the online liability registration as well. That's not us being awkward. It is a insurance requirement of Bicester. So we're doing the same process as we did last year, which is you fill out the online, when you buy the ticket, you book your track slot, you'll separately fill out the online form. Should just take 1 minute, 2 minutes, and you do that online form for yourself and your front seat passenger. They will then, when they arrive at National Alfa Day, go up to our check-in desk, receive a wristband, and that makes the queuing process onto the track really simple. You'll just be checked that you have been allocated a wristband and you need to be wearing that. So yeah, just a note to anybody who's booked a track slot. You will get an email in the next week or so. You must fill out the online form, or Bicester will not allow you to go on their track. But yeah, we'll try and make it as slick as possible on the day, and you'll be allocated a wristband when you arrive.
So there's a few slots left for that, and that's the moving part of the day. What about the shiny static bit? What's happening in terms of Concours and Show and Shine?
Concours, Show and Shine entries are still open at the moment, and when this goes out, hopefully there'll still be some slots if people want to register. They must pre-register for it, so if you can't just turn up on the day. The forms are available from the website, or email me if you would like a copy. Those are both being held outside again this year. Last year we've tried moving them into the hangar, which worked well, but I think the judges prefer to see them outside, so they'll be all outside again. But yeah, those slots on those are filling up nicely. So,
and just a reminder for those who haven't done either before, what's the kind of difference between full Concours and the Show and Shine competition?
The full Concours is for cars that are in basically totally original condition as they would have come out of the factory. Maybe not that new, but got all the parts.
I thought you were saying maybe not that bad.
Yeah. I might have thought it better. So they have to be original. The Show and Shine is for cars that have been modified, basically. The standard should still be the same. Yeah, so that's the big difference to the two.
And there's some pretty nice prizes for the Concours as well, isn't there? Sponsored by some old friends of ours.
There is indeed. Mark Knight and Revive Detailing Products. They're coming along again this year in person, and they're going to sponsor the prizes for the Concours, which was a nice thing to receive, as well as our shiny trophies from the club, of course.
It always seems slightly ironic that the ones who don't need the detailing products get them given as prizes for their shiny cars, but I'm sure they're the people who are guaranteed to use them, I guess.
Indeed. Yeah.
So if they're not in the hangar, what's in the hangar this year?
We've got a site visit there next week as I speak, which will happen by the time this goes out, I guess. But we're possibly looking at putting the SUDs in there, the 159s for their anniversary, the modified cars, Ragazzi, and the Alfa Female. Those are the target cars to go in there. Again, if the weather's inclement, as I said last time, first thing I'll be moving in there out of the rain will be my gazebo.
So that's the covered display. What's in the square outside in front of the, I think lovingly, affectionately referred to as rusty hangar doors?
Rusty hangar doors this year will be housing the 75s, so the 40th anniversary this year. So.
I am definitely not going anywhere near rusty hangar doors and 75s.
No, stay clear of that one. But the registrar Nick Suit is getting those together.
It'll be galvanising the hangar doors to match the cars, I think.
You've got near it now, haven't you?
And I can never remember what it's called, the technical area. We got the same kind of cut-off as we have had in the past in terms of car ages for in the field and in between the buildings. We have,
yes, got the same cut-offs, mainly because the 916s that will be the next logical one to join in that technical area are far too numerous and the club door put in there, so which is a good thing. But so they will all be out on the airfield with all the more modern stuff again, yeah.
Maybe we'll move those in over a couple of years. We'll move all the Zoe yellow ones the first year. Right. Well, no, maybe all the other ones the first year and then Zoe yellow ones the year after.
There's more yellow than there is anything these days. I think, by the way, I think we call it the engineering quarter. I think that's what we call it. But I'm not sure if we always remember to call it that, to be fair.
So we talked about the cars, the featured cars in that area, but that's a big space and the kind of main focal point for the event. So what else is around and about in front of the two hangars?
We'll have, as we mentioned earlier, Alfa Romeo UK will be there, not only with the juniors, their team will be there to answer any questions you have on the current range or otherwise. Pirelli will be sending their F1 simulator again, which always goes down very well at that event. They've very kindly, again, offered us a free set of tyres, up to £1,500, for which we'll be holding a prize draw for every member there to be an AROC member. And someone will be going home with a voucher for that.
Even Stelvio quad tyres don't weigh £1,500, do they?
Well, No, they can be for an Alfa. If you have a daily car that's not an Alfa, you can use it for that. So yeah, that's very generous of them to provide that again. We have the band playing, of course, again, keeping us entertained. There'll be slots in between the music. There's a Mr. J. Griffiths who'll be doing interviews on the microphone.
Some
again.
karaoke.
I've not heard his singing, but no, probably not. So he'll be interviewing some people there as well, as he usually does. And then when we can get the microphone away from him, the band will carry on again.
And the usual array of food vendors and the club shop and all of those kind of things.
Yep. Yeah, there's always every year we try and make sure there is a very good selection of food, drinks, and depending on whether ice cream outlets and so on. And I think we've probably got the volume and the balance about right. There's always, if we all suddenly realize we're starving to death at 12:30 on the dot, then obviously it queues up. Hopefully we can all sort of spread our demand and our queues a bit between 12 and 2 sort of thing. But it's very hard to, get more and more food vendors just for that 40-minute period where it's very busy. So I think like last year, we've got the right balance. We've got 5 or 6 different vendors plus the coffee outlets and the ice cream and so on. So I think it'll be a really good mixture actually. And the team who provide it for us, they are very efficient and not horribly expensive as you find at some event.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was at a music festival over the weekend and paid 42 quid for 2 kebabs. So it's all very reasonably priced.
Yes.
In terms of the main display area, the field area, usual parking by model there?
Yep, that's definitely the plan. As always, we're sort of splitting that field into moderns and modern classics. The registrars will all be helping with parking and so on. So I think if you're part of a model register, whether that's online on the forum or on a Facebook group, it's certainly worth just reaching out and making sure that you're up to date with the plans that your registrar has for the parking. But in any event, our absolute aim is to do model parking. That does get trickier every year with some of those cars. 916s are always very high in volume, Giuliettas, Mitos, and so on. So obviously the people parking the cars will absolutely do their best to get them in model parking in some sort of ship-shape fashion. But if people turn up really late, we can't guarantee that they'll be in with their fellow owners.
And it really isn't something you can plan. I mean, I'll be there in my Spider if Jamie Porter manages to fix it on the Friday before National Alfa Day. Otherwise, I'll be in the Tonale, but I won't know until Saturday morning which one I'm coming in. So it's hard for the club ever to know who's coming in what.
We do get an idea these days because with the online booking, obviously we ask what people are bringing, and that does give us a pretty good idea. As you say, it's never going to be 100%, but it's there or thereabouts generally. So I was just going to mention the other outfield area. There'll also be the trade area again coming along. That's getting booked up quite nicely now. We'll have the cars for sale area as well there, over there. If you have an Alfa for sale or want to buy one, that's the area for you to go and look.
Yeah, it was really nice having the traders back last year. It was like going to National Alfa Day 25 years ago. It was excellent. I guess the other area that we always get really good feedback on, and it's a small number of it's not a small number of club's members. It's the smaller members of the club, the children's area.
Yeah. And look, we've tried to, the feedback from the last few years has been, it was absolutely brilliant. Please don't change it. We have looked at changing it, but truthfully, haven't really found any other combination that works as well, that covers all the age ranges of the children. So yeah, anybody who's been before will know we have go-karts, which is for ages 4 to 10. That sort of age range. We have the ride-on toys for toddlers, and that's a combination of push-alongs and ride-ons and so on. We have a manned team, experienced professionals who are there to support people with young families. And the beauty of those two environments is we always put them closely together. So families with young children can actually sit down and either enjoy their lunch or just take a rest, just have a bit of time while the kids are entertained. And we'll have our face painting there as well. I think last year, I want to say, I don't think I'm making this up, the face painting lady, I'm sure she said she did just over 200 face paints at our last National Alfa Day. And obviously some of the smaller children take much longer than some of the adults, but there were a lot of adults who had their faces painted. So look,
that's pushing 10% of the people who are there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was exaggerated, but I also think a lot of people, went back for seconds. I know that a young family I spoke to, they went to the face painting about 5 times because their kids wanted to just keep changing it or wiped it off or what have you. So anyway, look, whatever the number, there's a young lady who goes by the trade name of Bicester Face Painting, which is very apt. She's really, really good. She's brilliant with kids. She's nice with adults too, if you want to get, a clover leaf painted on your forehead. But she will be working all day long and she works like a trooper. But again, so there'll be that one close-knit area where you've got go-karts, you've got the ride-alongs and sit-on toys, and you've got the face painting lady. And they're all in the safety zone because remember, at 11 a.m., we close off that show zone area to cars. We don't allow cars through there. So it does become a sort of a safety area where parents can take their children and keep them occupied. And it's right opposite the food and drink stands as well. So, and as always, we hire in 100 or so deck chairs, and they've proved very popular because they're both comfortable and mobile. So we encourage people that whilst we do lay out some deck chairs, near the band and so on, if people see a couple of deck chairs and they want to set up a little picnic area for their family, do take the deck chairs. Just be careful not to get your fingers trapped in them.
I've reached that age where they're comfortable when you're in them, but almost impossible to get in and out of.
Yeah, I mean, we need winching equipment perhaps for next year, but yeah, it's the same as owning a 4C, isn't it? You're okay sort of falling into them, but yeah, without some heavy lifting gear, you probably can't get out of it very easily.
As analogies go, I've never thought of sitting in a deck chair as being the same as owning a 4C, but
no, I suppose it's the logistics of exit, ingress and egress rather than ownership, perhaps.
Yeah,
I would just add as well, all those kids' activities that David was talking about are all free. They're all included in the ticket price. Once you're in, it's all included. So.
And the other thing we talked about in passing when we were talking about the track parades was the race cars that show up, which are traditionally opposite the area. We're looking at a good lineup of racing cars this year as well.
I think so. We're always, I mean, this is luck, not planning, but we're always fortunate enough that National Alfa Day never coincides with a Alfa Romeo racing event. So yes, we've reached out to all those in the what was the ARCA racing? What is it now? It's the AROC. And of course, the organisers are friends of ours, and some of the racers who, for example, Paul Plant might bring along a handful of cars. So we're normally well stocked with racing cars, and the teams there, both the organising committee and the motorsport and our motorsport register, are always on hand and very positive in that. And people love to see them as well. It's really, some of those cars are, powered on-track racing machines, but they're a Giulietta or a 4C or a 75 that we're familiar with. So they are fun to see, and particularly fun to see them bombing around the track on their, in quotes, parade laps.
If you have trouble getting in and out of a normal 4C, David, you should try Jamie Porter's.
Yes, I won't be doing that.
Yeah, you have to fold yourself in and out of that. Logistics. So tickets only in advance, presumably. What time can people get in, and how long will it be before they get thrown out?
Yes, so it's prepaid tickets only. 9 o'clock the gates open. There's nowhere to queue outside on the main road, so don't turn up much before that. And we have to use a company called Traxis. We have to use who lay all the signs out. They do all the traffic management for us, which we're obliged to use them for the local council, otherwise we can't hold the event. So they will hold people as they come in. They check all the tickets for us. They're obviously under instructions not to let anyone in who doesn't have a ticket. Yeah, so they're doing that as usual.
I'm not encouraging this, but there's no actual cut-off time, is there? So you could, in theory, buy a ticket in the queue.
You can.
As long as you've got it before the ticket's checked, you're good.
Absolutely, as you can turn up with it on screen. You don't have to print it off. That's not a problem at all, yeah. That's fine. I was just going to mention quickly, our chairman, Mr. Griffiths, can't be with us today. He always says that if anyone's thinking of coming, all the Alfas that turn up are part of the show. You don't just turn up, park in a car park and go and see the show. If you're an Alfa, you're part of the show. That's always his emphasis. And if you can't come in your Alfa for any reason at all, we'll have the usual field of shame. you can park it in and walk through.
You say gates open at 9. Is that straight into the site, or will people be held until a later time before being allowed into the main area?
No, 9 o'clock is a gate opening. Now go straight through from there. Yeah, there is. People have been there before. No, there's a little what they call the snake, a little wiggly road that people queue up. So, yeah, but once that's full, then obviously we've got no choice. We can't let anyone else in. So they don't get there too early. So there's nowhere to go. So.
Although you can drive past to a roundabout and drive back round to another roundabout and then...
You can, yes. But
see if the queue's disappeared by the time you come back.
In your V6, that could have been expensive exercise. I have to turn up later.
It's a good reason to come into the Tonale and just leave it with 30 miles electric range and just bimble around.
Something that's very, very popular with people is our land train, sponsored by Chris Knott Insurance, and we're hugely grateful to them as always, as we are to all of our sponsors, Alfa Romeo, Pirelli and others. Yeah, the land train has been really beneficial to people. People have often reported back, both, us older fans who come along, but also people with young children, little toddlers whose legs can't cope. The land train is completely free. It'll run all day long. It doesn't start at 9, starts at around 10, I think. And there is a reason for that, which escapes my memory, but it's something to do with the volume of fuel they can carry and how many hours they can keep running. So I think there is a made up time of 10 till about 3:30 that the land train runs, but it's about the volume of fuel it carries. So yeah, that's a brilliant thing. If you do, again, it's very, very busy when it starts running. It has periods where it's not so busy, but you can jump on it and, it's typically not queuing heavily. But I forget how many people the land train can carry. It's something like 60, I think. It's got like 3 carriages. So it's quite a good number that gets on there. But the key thing is people can sit on the land train for half an hour and basically see the whole event without the strain on their legs or on their little children's or grandchildren's legs. So that's certainly worth having a go on. If you haven't gone on it before, it is really good fun, actually. I've only been on it once because we're normally organising things, but it is fun. And lots of people say it was an absolutely brilliant addition to the event.
Just one more small piece of information that might be helpful for people, and that is that National Alfa Day is on Sunday, the 17th of August this year.
Oh, that's,
Yeah, that is an important point, actually. You'd probably make that very clear and put it in the podcast notes too.
Yeah, I might even put that in the introduction, and then your reminder will look like we already knew.
Yeah.
One just quick word, particularly for those with young families. We obviously have on-site paramedics and on-site fire crews as well. So they are absolute professionals, and they are available from anything from a grazed knee to something more. So yeah, if anybody needs any sort of medical assistance, they'll be in the central show zone. You'll be able to see them. They have an ambulance, they have a fire truck, or any cause for concern at any point during the day. There's dozens and dozens of us with high-vis vests, and we all have radios. So you can go to someone with a high-vis vest, raise a concern. We will radio it through, and the paramedics and the fire crew also have the radios and are in contact with us too. So yeah, safety obviously paramount for everybody, but it's more of just an awareness thing. If you hurt yourself or you fall over, or even if your kid falls off of a go-kart, you can simply either raise it to one of us with a high-vis vest or make your way over to the paramedics.
There's a couple of other things happening around about that time, which will be too late for the next podcast. So the weekend before, I think, is Festival Italia, isn't it?
It is, yeah, Festival Italia at Brands Hatch. We have an area for the main club, 50 cars that sold out. Section Kent have their own area as well next door. That's 50 cars, so that's 100 cars we've got, and that's all completely sold out. And I know some of the model registers have their own little areas as well, so it's going to be a busy day. There's always far more Alfa Romeos there than any other cars. So, yeah, that should be a good day. And then the weekend after, we have the Silverstone Festival. It used to be the Silverstone Classic. So I should be there for 4 days, including the setup. So, yeah, there goes August, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it works well as an event still, because we have the infield parking. So we've got 45 cars this year going. So that should be good. Good weekend.
Is it worth mentioning Southern Alfa Day? Because that's the 7th of September. That'll come around quite quick, won't it?
There's one more event that we probably should mention. We may get another podcast in before it happens, but just in case we forget to mention it, the 7th of September, I think, David, is Southern Alfa Day.
Yeah, and it's at Stansted Park in Hampshire, which is, from memory, just outside Portsmouth. So couldn't get much more southern for a Southern Alfa Day. But yeah, looks like a fabulous location. It's got about 1,800 acres, I think. It's like a huge Edwardian mansion. So lots to see, lots to do there. There's a huge arboretum, big farm shot. There's a huge maze. I think they've got a light railway. So yeah, that's on 7th September. Southern Alfa Day is at Stansted Park in Hampshire.
Not Stansted Car Park. Listen to it.
No, not Stansted Airport car park. No. If you're there, you're going to have a much more expensive day out and be 150 miles away from where you're supposed to be. One more that I'm going to mention, although it's not a club event because it's the weekend after that, I think, is the Goodwood Revival. And the only real reason for mentioning it is there is a celebration of Alfa Romeo this year. So we are talking to the organisers about some sort of club involvement, but no news on that yet. If we've heard anything before the next podcast, I will mention it then.
Excellent.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it. I'll see you both there.
See you, guys.
See you there.
Bye. That's it for this episode. We'll be back in 5 weeks' time on Sunday, the 7th of September. Episode 112 will be available to download from 1:30 p.m. from the club's website, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podcast Addict, and everywhere else good podcasts are found. Until then, stay safe.